324 C. Emperor Constantine's army closes in on his rival Licinius, near a hilltop church called the Michaelion. Constantine doesn't pray for victory, he commissions a painting. In it, he and his sons drive spears through a serpent, but within months, the serpent vanishes from the image. In its place, a winged warrior with a sword crushing the dragon's skull. The church's patron, an angel whose name is a question, not an answer, has just become Christianity's first military saint. But here's what Constantine didn't know. That warrior's job description would rewrite itself 3 more times across 3 continents. The same being, 3 religions, 3 completely different missions. And it all starts with a name that shouldn't make sense. The name game, Michael. Hebrew, 3 syllables, 1 grammatical problem. Who? Like. Now, God. Who is like God? It's not a statement of power. It's a rhetorical question demanding the answer, no one. In Hebrew naming conventions, this is backwards. Theophoric names usually declare identity. Daniel means God is my judge. Gabriel means God is my strength. Michael's name is the only angelic designation in Scripture that's an interrogation. By the 2nd century BCE, Jewish scribes writing the Book of Enoch need a commander for the angelic armies. They choose the question mark angel. Enoch lists 7 archangels: Uriel, Raguel, Raphael, Sariel, Gabriel, Remiel, and leading them all, Michael. But Michael gets a specific jurisdiction, the chief of the angels and archangels, the guardian prince of Israel, responsible for the care of the people. Note that word, guardian. Not warrior. Not destroyer. Guardian, Act 1, the attorney. The Book of Daniel, composed around 165 BCE during the Seleucid persecution, shows Michael at work. In chapter 10, a man in linen tells Daniel, "The prince of Persia opposed me 21 days. Then Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me." This is cosmic bureaucracy, territorial spirits locked in diplomatic gridlock, Michael serving as Israel's advocate in heaven's court system. Then comes the courtroom scene that splits Judaism and Christianity for 2 millennia. Jude 9, a single verse in the Christian New Testament, references a story not found in canonical Hebrew scripture. When the Archangel Michael contended with the devil and disputed about the body of Moses, he did not presume to pronounce a reviling judgment, but said, "The Lord rebuke you." This comes from a lost Jewish text called the Assumption of Moses. 8. Satan claims Moses' body as property. The man was a murderer, killed an Egyptian, hid the corpse. Michael, attorney for the defense, refuses to counter-accuse Satan. He defers to God's judgment. Early rabbinic texts double down. Midrash Genesis Rabbah says Michael saved Abraham from Nimrod's furnace. He protected Sarah from Abimelech. He substituted the ram for Isaac. The Talmud specifies, when a man is in need, he must pray directly to God and neither to Michael nor to Gabriel. But the fact they have to prohibit praying to Michael tells you how popular it was becoming. Here's the image. Michael, in Jewish thought, is the defense attorney who stands between God's justice and Satan's accusations. He weighs evidence. He rescues the innocent. He never raises a sword because he's arguing law, not waging war. This holds until 70 CE. Then Rome destroys the Second Temple. Judaism disperses, and Christianity, still defining itself against its parent faith, needs Michael to do something new. Act 2. The Warrior Revelation 12:7. Written maybe 95 CE. War broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. The great dragon was thrown down, that ancient serpent who is called the devil and Satan. Watch what just happened. Michael, the guardian advocate who refused to insult Satan in Jude 9, is now physically throwing him from heaven. Same being. Same scripture tradition. Completely different job. This shift is theological warfare. Judaism loses its temple and begins interpreting scripture through rabbinic debate. Christianity, splitting off, needs to prove itself different, and that requires cosmic violence to mark the break. Luke 22:31 has Jesus take over Michael's attorney role, saying Satan wants to sift the disciples, but I have prayed for you. Michael is no longer needed in court. He's reassigned to the battlefield. 4th century Christians run with it. Constantine builds the Michaelion Church near modern Istanbul, celebrating his defeat of Licinius with that serpent-crushing image. Within decades, every plague, every siege, every victory gets attributed to Michael. When Gregory the Great sees the plague end in Rome around 590 CE, he reports Michael sheathing a sword atop Hadrian's mausoleum, now renamed Castel Sant'Angelo, Castle of the Holy Angel. An archangel with a sword becomes visual shorthand for divine intervention. By the Middle Ages, you can track Michael's militarization through art. Byzantine mosaics around 600 CE still show him in court robes, holding a staff of office. But Crusader-era Europe reimagines him. 10th century Saxon manuscripts give him chainmail. 13th century Italian frescoes add a shield with quis ut Deus, who is like God, weaponizing his name. Guido Reni's 1636 painting in Rome shows Michael with flexed muscles and flowing red cape, spearing a demon whose body writhes in agonized defeat. This isn't a lawyer. This is celestial special forces. The transformation is complete when military orders adopt him. Knights Hospitaller, Teutonic Knights, and eventually the French Order of St. Michael in 1469 all invoke him as patron. His feast day, Michaelmas, September 29th, becomes the standard day for settling debts and renewing military contracts. Armies march under his banner from the Crusades to World War II. But while Christianity is militarizing Michael, another tradition is doing something radically different. Act 3, the Mercy Bringer. 7th century CE, Arabian Peninsula. The Quran mentions Michael exactly once in Surah 298. Whoever is an enemy to Allah, his angels, Jibril, Mikael, Allah is indeed the enemy of the faithless. And the verse is a response to Jewish communities in Medina claiming Gabriel was their enemy because he brought warnings of destruction, while Michael, Mikael in Arabic, was benevolent. Islamic tradition inverts Christianity's warrior. Hadith literature, records of Muhammad's teachings, associates Michael with mercy, specifically natural mercy, rain, sustenance, growth. From Michael's tears, angels of mercy are created. He asks God for forgiveness on behalf of humans. In one account, Michael and Gabriel guide Muhammad through heaven during the night journey, but Michael's role is consoler, not commander. When the Battle of Badr is mentioned in later sources like Suyuti, Michael appears, but as one angel among many, not leading the charge. Ottoman and Persian miniatures from the 15th to 17th centuries paint this difference in pigment and gold leaf. Compare. European Michael wears armor, grips a sword, tramples Satan. Islamic Michael, when depicted at all, since figural art is contentious, stands beside Gabriel, often holding scales for Judgment Day, or surrounded by clouds and greenery for his role in rainfall. No dragon, no violence. The question mark name has become the mercy mark angel. This split matters because 1. 8 billion Muslims today honor Michael as a rainbringer, while 2. 4 billion Christians honor him as a demon slayer, and most people don't know both traditions exist. The identity crisis. So who is Michael? Judaism's attorney. Christianity's general. Islam's minister of mercy. Same name, same ancient texts as the starting point, but 3 civilizations needed 3 different cosmic jobs filled. There's a deeper fracture. Some Christian groups don't think Michael is an angel at all. Seventh-day Adventists and Jehovah's Witnesses identify Michael as Jesus Christ, before the Incarnation, the eternal Word who became flesh. Their reasoning, 1 Thessalonians 4:16, says Christ will descend with the voice of an archangel, and since Jude calls Michael the archangel, definite article, he must be the only one, therefore Christ. Martin Luther flirted with this interpretation. So did John Calvin. It's not fringe, it's contested orthodoxy. Meanwhile, the Church of Latter-day Saints says Michael is Adam, the first human, now serving as archangel after death. And Gnostic texts from Nag Hammadi put Michael in control of demons, helping the false god Yaldabaoth create Adam, making him complicit in humanity's flawed design. Every tradition is citing the same ancient sources and arriving at incompatible conclusions. The question in Michael's name, who is like God, has become a question about Michael himself. Who even is this? The modern battlefield. Walk into a U.S. military chapel. You'll see St. Michael in full armor, often as a stained glass window. The 82nd Airborne Division venerates him as patron saint of paratroopers, warriors who fall from the sky like angels. French Foreign Legion paratroopers wear a beret badge of a winged arm gripping a dagger. Michael's iconography secularized. Police forces from Croatia to the Philippines invoke him as protector. But walk into a mosque during prayer for rain. Imam might recite a dua invoking Michael by name, asking him to intercede with God for sustenance. No weapons, no battle. Different angel, same angel, different story. Pop culture picks the warrior every time. Supernatural, Constantine, Lucifer. Every TV show and video game defaults to Michael as the stern, sword-wielding enforcer. Even his name gets militarized. The Michael and dragon motif becomes shorthand for righteous violence. The question mark has been pounded flat into an exclamation point. Resolution, the eternal interrogation. Here's what we're really looking at. Michael isn't one being who changed jobs. Michael is a theological mirror. Each tradition looks at cosmic justice and asks, what do we need to combat evil? Judaism, without a temple and under Roman occupation, needs an advocate, someone to argue their case in heaven's court when earthly courts fail. Christianity, defining itself through apocalyptic rupture, needs a warrior to make the break from Judaism visible and violent. Islam, emerging in a desert where survival depends on rain, needs mercy embodied, someone who brings sustenance, not just judgment. The name "Who is like God" works precisely because it's unanswerable. It's a question that forces every generation to fill in the blank. And what they fill in reveals what they think God's justice looks like. Is justice a fair trial? Is it a sword through evil's skull? Is it water in the desert? All three. None of them. Michael remains what he was in the beginning. A question without an answer, an archangel whose identity is as contested as the nature of the divine he serves. The dragon slayer, the lawyer, the rainbringer, same wings, different wars. When you see St. Michael in art, in prayer, in a paratrooper's tattoo, you're seeing a civilization's answer to a question older than empires. What would it take for heaven to care? Michael doesn't give us the answer. He is the asking. End. Total runtime. 11:45 min approx. 2,070 words.